Can we rise to the pledge, please? There we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Town clerk's report.
I have the approval of the July town clerk's report. And the acceptance of the July 20th town board minutes.
Yes,
Okay, you go ahead.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Then I have approval of general bills number 20274 through 2030. And then 20317 and 20318. I have highway bills 20304 through 20315 and water bills 3223 and 3224.
I move that we pay those bills.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Warren's not here yet, so we'll go into public comment. Public comment? Okay.
The only two, if I can bring it up, the public's talked to me, and I'll just leave it at the public. About our flea market, I don't know how well it went or whatever, but the two comments that I had, and one I thought, and Matt Zick also thought. That we only approved it for 2 sessions, and every place now it's advertised on into October.
You are 100% correct.
Mhm.
We told them that. They put that advertisement out just
Right.
so they wouldn't, if it was
Right.
good for the 2 weeks, they could
Right.
continue on seamlessly.
Right, but it's a little presumptive, and we're the bad guys now if we say no. That's the thing, I don't appreciate it. And the other comment that was made is that we normally charge vendors, people who are in business, a peddler's fee for something like that. So we have people in town who have peddler's fees or paid for peddler's license. But a lot of the vendors, I guess, who were at the flea market were just basically other retail people who came up here and used it as an opportunity. I
Well,
just,
I checked our law and
yeah,
the law has an exemption
I saw that,
for
right,
if it's run by a not-for-profit organization. So I think it's pretty.
that,
clear.
I know it's covered and legal, but the person who did speak to me about it was, was looking to protect our own people. The people who had done it the other way, it's the same thing with the idea of, the church thrift stores are being hurt by, some of the other things that are going on without the benefit of it. Again, I'm just passing it on, and I wanted it to express that opinion. And I don't know, were there any other comments about what Saturday was like?
I heard it was a good turnout,
Okay.
a good amount of vendors.
Mhm.
That's all I heard,
Okay.
but I was getting mine secondhand as well.
I drove through the parking lot and it seemed to be okay, but I wasn't sure if most of them were vendors or it was actually the flea market kind of aspect as it was sold to us as, is it a farmer's market or is it a flea market or is it just, vendors? Anyhow,
Some of the pictures I saw were a variety of.
I know there was at least one person who was what we expected it to be. Okay, just my comments.
Does anybody have anything else? Okay. We'll jump back to Warren.
Yeah, so well, you guys move fast. So I see you have 2 public hearings on the agenda, so we can deal with that when we get to that. I was contacted by the assessor's office who requested that the town board consider raising the annual income limits for senior citizens. Because the law has been amended in New York State law and allows the annual income limits to be higher than what we have in our current local law. So I prepared, and she had indicated that she had seen the town of Northeast senior citizen law and was in favor of adopting those limits. So I drafted that for Northeast, and we adopted that in Northeast. So I took the liberty of just drafting you a proposed local law which raises your senior citizens limits to the same level as the town of Northeast. So, and I think I sent that to the clerk to give.
No,
Send
I-
that to you?
no,
Ah,
it's okay.
Apologize. So I have a copy tonight. If you can make a copy of it at the end of the meeting and then consider. I'll send a copy to the assessor's office and.
Linda's here. Fine.
Oh, Linda, no, talked to you, but I didn't see. Have you seen the law? There's the.
I haven't seen the law.
Oh, okay, so I'll send you a copy of it.
Okay,
But I've raised the limits to the town of Northeast, which I think that's.
yes,
you
that's
want.
what we talked about.
Yeah. So, if you're all in favor of that, we can start I don't think there's any immediacy to do it right now. We can do it. Start the process at the next meeting and have the public hearing in October. Would that do for you, or is that?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to go into the county system, into the RPS system until like March.
Hmm,
But I send out renewal letters to all the senior citizens in October. And I'd like to be able to tell them this in that letter, because I usually put an income amount in there, and I'd like to be
Right.
able to say, oh, this is going up, and tell your neighbors and.
If you trust me, I prepared a resolution commencing the local law adoption process. Which we can do tonight so that we could have a public hearing in September. And then you can vote to adopt it or not adopt it at that time. You're not bound once you start the process. And this way that will meet with your,
And then I could send letters out.
then
like
you'd be able to send the
October.
letter out. So
Okay.
I'm in favor of doing that.
I have a resolution that I prepared accepting the local law for purposes of commencing the local adoption process. And I scheduled the public hearing. What's the September date? I didn't put that in.
20th.
So that would be
21st.
September 20th. You'd have to fill that in.
21st.
21st? Okay, at 7:05 PM. So this is the only copy I brought. I'm sorry, I thought we had sent this to you.
Linda, what is the change?
I know that Barbara said she
What
was
is
having
the
problems with her
change?
email.
For the senior citizens exemption,
get it.
well, New York State voted that it can be raised up to 50,000.
Mhm.
Right now, our senior citizen exemption goes from 50% at 29,000 and below. And then it's graduated down to 5% at 37,399.
Mhm.
When, we do the monthly assessors meetings online, and a lot of us, like, including me, we're like, well, 50,000, if I was making 50,000 a year, I wouldn't consider myself low income. I would think I was loaded. So the town of Northeast, like Warren was saying, they settled at 35,000 and below for 50% and up to, I think, 43,900.
Greater than 43,000, no exemption, 42 to 500. I can go over this right now. So it's 35,000 or less, it would be 50%. 35,000 to 35,999, it would be 45%. 36,000 to 36,999 would be 40%. 37,000 to 37,999 is 3.5%. 38,000 to 38,899. I guess that's right, is 30%. 38,900 to 39,799 is 25%. 39,800 to 40,699 is 20%. 40,700 to 41,599 is 15%. And 41,600 to 42,499 is 10%. 42,500 to 43,399 is 5%. And then greater than 43,400 is no exemption. So, and that's in line with, I think, with most municipalities, most of are raising it to
Yeah, I sent everyone the paperwork back in July. We forgot all about that, but some towns raised it. This is last year's numbers, but I do have in here also Dutchess County is going in 2024 up to the 43,004, and then they're going up to 50,000 in 2025. Like I said, you know, I mean, it's all up to you guys, but I think it is good to raise it. We haven't raised it since 2009. And there's sure been a heck of a lot of inflation since then. New York State raises the limit for the enhanced star exemption every year that I've been here, and that's 10 years. There, it was like in the 80s, and now it's like 93,200 or something. And, you know, our seniors are our lowest income people. I have seniors come in, they have only social security of like $9,000 a year. So I think this is, you know, like a good break for the seniors. And my senior citizens also, I looked at real quick before I left work today.
Yeah.
When I first came here, I had, just like a paper like this, that's a spreadsheet. I had 4.5 pages of seniors. I now have 1.5 pages because they've passed on. And the people moving into the town aren't necessarily that age, and they're not necessarily in that income bracket.
Right.
So the number of seniors I've had I couldn't believe it when I went back to 2015. I was like, are you kidding me? Because I felt I lost a lot, but I think there's, and I think because Northeast has done it, I think it's good for us to be in like the same mojo area.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Do you know how many you would pick up if you change the numbers?
I don't have any idea about any firm number for that, but last year, New York State killed every assessor's office. What they did, they sent out a card about the enhanced star and the senior exemption to everybody over 65, including, I had people calling me who made too much to get the basic star over 500,000. The city of Poughkeepsie had 6,000 phone calls. We had hundreds of phone calls, and I didn't pick up any huge amount. And this is with everybody being advised that this exemption was possible. So I'm once we change the income limit, I think we'll pick people up, but I was very surprised. I was surprised it didn't go up more.
So you would need just a vote on the resolution to schedule a public hearing.
I'll make that question.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'll leave this copy.
Do we need a roll call for that or no?
Hmm?
Do we need a roll call or?
If we vote to pass it.
Okay. Thank you.
And I suspect that you won't have any opposition. We've never had any opposition to those. I think I have a couple of things in. If we go to executive
Yes.
session, I'd like to discuss with you, but I don't have anything else.
All right, we'll stay right with you anyway, Warren, because we're gonna reopen the public hearing in regards to the solar moratorium. Do we have any public comments still? We are still into a public comment session. Okay. You want to touch base on anything else in regards to this or?
Yeah, just, is there any public comment before I came?
No,
No.
we're just opening now.
Oh, okay. So, basically, what we decided to do and is, given our experience now with one major tier 3 solar project, there is some concern about provisions of our current zoning law, and we want to make sure that the law has adequate protection in the event that there's a proliferation of application for more solar facilities. And we want to be able to protect the agricultural and rural and forestry nature of the town. So we have put together an 8-month moratorium on the acceptance and processing of any new applications for tier 3 solar facilities. These are the large scale facilities, not rooftop on a house or something in the backyard, for a period of 8 months. And there is an exception for applications that are pending before the planning board. And for that have commenced the environmental review process. So the exemption would apply to the Carson Powers application that we have, so it would be exempt from that. We don't have any other applications pending, so there would be no other exemptions. There's a hardship provision, which we normally put in moratorium laws. So if somebody can demonstrate that they will suffer unnecessary hardship by virtue of this moratorium, they can apply to the board for a waiver. I've never seen one granted, but it's conceivable that would happen, but we put those in the laws for due process purposes. So if you vote to adopt the moratorium law, it would go into effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. And the next step would be that we really have to get started on appointing some sort of a zoning review committee to start working on this. I guess we can discuss that at the next town board meeting. But we shouldn't delay because the process could take a while. We are going to make changes to the law.
So it's subject to a permissive referendum.
No, we did not make it public. This is not subject to a permissive.
Okay.
And it's not subject to environmental review.
Okay.
First things first, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thoughts from the board?
I think we should proceed. I'll make the motion.
I'll second Don's motion.
All in favor?
I,
This, we need a roll call vote.
Supervisor Walsh.
Aye.
Councilman Ambrose.
Aye.
Councilman Bartles.
Aye.
Councilwoman Jones.
Aye.
And just for the record, we did get a recommendation from the planning board that they were in favor of the adoption of the law.
Can I get a motion to open the public hearing in regards to the assessor resolution?
so,
All in favor?
Aye.
Floor is open. You want to touch base on this real quick?
Yeah, let me just explain what we have here. At this point, we have re-elected assessors in the town of Pine Plain. And we have had difficulty keeping that position filled over the years. And we discussed changing to a sole appointed assessor. The percentage of municipalities in New York State that have a sole appointed assessor is very high, in a 90% bracket, I believe. So having 3 elected assessors is kind of an arcane approach. And if you can find a sole appointed assessor that you would hire, it's recommended by the state that you do that. So I've created a local law which abolishes the 3-person elected assessors and substitutes in its place a sole appointed assessor. The sole appointed assessor would be for a 6-year period rather than the 4-year period for the elected assessor. And appointed assessors do have to meet the minimum qualification standards that are set forth in the New York Code rules and regulations, in addition to age and residency requirements. With that, we have no public comment on this.
I'm going to open the floor right now.
We didn't.
Is there any public comment in regards to this?
The only thing I have, quick warn is, be aware that position would start January 1st,
That's correct.
but it would only go through September 30th, 2025. Because all I was surprised to learn this, all of the sole appointed assessors are on the same 6-year schedule.
Oh, okay.
It started in 1971, October 1st, 1971, and it's that, so. This began October 1st, 2019, and then September 30th, 2025, and then you would reappoint then for the 6 years.
Okay.
I just thought that was an important.
Which is probably beneficial because you'll have an opportunity to have somebody in for a shorter period of time, see if it works out. And then you don't have to reappoint if it doesn't work out.
Except. Fabulous, someone starting October 1st. January 1st starts our health season. Our taxable status date is March 1st, so we're bombarded with getting the ag exemption renewals and getting the farmers and getting the seniors and getting the nonprofits. And then New York State is going to send that darn postcard out again, and we'll be getting our hundreds of phone calls. It's a tough time, that January 1st through June. It's crazy because then there's grievance and then there's tentative role and then there's redoing the other role. So that's the only thing. I think, yes, I think 96% of towns in New York State are sole appointed assessor, only 4 are the archaic, which is what I read also. In Dutchess County, it's just Milan, that's 3, and I did hear they're going to sole appointed assessor as well. My Northeast has sole elected assessor. Everyone else is sole appointed assessor. So yeah, I mean, I don't see how we cannot do that. I think, I mean, that throws me out, but still, I think it's, like you said, to get 3 people in there again, I think it's really, really fun thing to do.
Yeah.
So. I mean, you
do you
lose,
think we should hold off passing this until next year? I mean.
well, because we're not gonna
Or
get
gonna be
3
the
people
same
in there anyway,
No,
so I think you do go ahead and pass it.
okay.
I think it's a shame, and when you do have a sole appointed assessor, I was speaking with the president of the Dutchess County Assessors. And you would still need to have a data collector and an assessor's aide. I tend not to call that a secretary because you're doing assessing, you're calculating exemptions and still being an assessor. So technically it is kind of like still a 3-person office. I don't think your data collector is there every time, just when there's data to be collected. So that's just my noticing things.
Well, we're gonna be relying on you a lot for your expertise in this, so.
Well, yes, if I'm still here as the assessor aide, not sure that I'm being kept. We'll see.
So we'll have to upgrade your position,
Yeah,
your secretary's position, and actually have a new definition of what your position is.
yeah, I've seen deputy assessor on the,
Okay.
I got a little printout from.
Are there any special qualifications that the state law,
No,
And
there's
it says-
nothing for
okay.
that position. There
and
isn't
that
any-
position is appointed by the board?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just
Right.
the yearly thing. So the one thing that I felt was really valuable in the 3-person elected is our collaborative
Right.
stuff, because you have a sole appointed assessor, I'm making the call then, your house is gonna be worth this, and your
Yeah,
house is, the 3 of us would talk, and we all came from very different perspectives, and it was we'll never have that again. I mean, it was a really good group of different people. When we had Scott in there, Scott could tell you not only about this property, he'd tell you who owned it 100 years ago. So it was a really good thing to have that. We were able to put a rollout during the pandemic when a lot of towns couldn't. We never even saw each other. This was just email. You knew your job, we knew our job. It was a great process, and I'm just throwing it in there as, a sad farewell to it. And it gave me, I said to Rich J, it gave me a real realization that Jim's gone. Now it's been like, he's on vacation or something, but to just say goodbye to that collaborative thing that we had, it was a great group. It
Yeah.
really was to work in. But like I said, I think we have to go sole assessors.
It's getting harder and harder to put those groups together.
Yes, very hard, very hard. So I think it's a necessity in this day and age. I do think it's a necessity.
And do many towns share an appointed assessor with other towns?
No, I don't really, I think there's maybe one or two. I don't think that's a real big.
Like,
thing,
like
but
if we could work with Mylan and have one assessor.
Yeah, I'm not aware, I'm sure it exists, but I don't know,
Uh-huh.
if there are. I can't give you specific instances of towns that share assessors. I know assessors who work for, more than one town. So, and that's not uncommon, but, you can share an assessor. We'd have to do an intermunicipal agreement, but I don't know whether it's considered a full-time job, for one person in Pine Plains or.
yeah, I think it would depend on who the person that comes in. I mean, when we were in there as assessors, it was. Because it would change, well, and it would change because too, it is very seasonal.
Mhm.
Like, once July, like July, August, that's like dead time, except for the clerk getting ready for the renewals and stuff, but. It gets totally dead, and then, like I said, January, February, March, so it's hard to say. But I think I had totaled it all up, and I think with all the assessor hours together, it was like 20 to 24 hours. Like I said, but then like crazy time, we would put in whatever, we didn't even really keep track of that. But it wasn't 40 hours.
Right. Well, this is something you're gonna have to get on if you pass the law. We're gonna have to really start looking for somebody to fill that position.
Well, and also as part of that, and like you mentioned, there are those qualifications that have to be met.
You know,
And with that is the form RP 3006, everything is RP something. And that's the application that the person you want to appoint has to fill out and send to the state. And the state will tell you if you can appoint them or not. I was like, what? What? I learned this from the Dutchess County Director. Should I email this to all of you guys so you have it?
yeah,
Because
I'd like to see that too.
it's pretty,
You,
I was looking at this today and I mean, okay, you have to have this, all this background in this. You have to have samples of finished products, including work schedules. I'm like, what in the world is what blew me away about this is you have to have all of this stuff to be an appointed assessor. But as an elected assessor, you
You
know,
don't know if they did
you don't
it.
need nothing. Yeah, so go ahead. So I thought it was kind of strange. I'll give this to you. You've got all the other qualifications, right? You've got that list. So I thought it was kind of strange, like.
And then what happens if nobody applies?
If what?
If no one applies, what happens?
No one applies, everyone wants that job. It's.
Oh, do they? Oh,
Thankless.
Oh, I don't know that. Send that to my campaign.
Do you know what happens? At grievance, everybody comes in and they say to us, you did a great job. Thank you. We love our assessors. That's what they say.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's not quite true.
Just trying to make the job look good. Just trying-
Try to sell it.
Yeah.
no, but we have had, I think we've been very spoiled in our assessor's office. I sat on the Board of Assessment Review, and when that time came around, our assessors did an incredible job
Yes.
and minimized the task that the
Yeah.
Board of Assessment Review had in a very significant way, and particularly when we had the reval, the big
Yes.
major reval.
Oh, my God.
So I'm very aware that it's like, I'm a little concerned about the whole process of
Yeah.
getting this person in place and having it work.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to go, pass this law. I mean, you could put feelers out and.
Well, then we have to get people to,
Then we still have to get two more people.
I know, so
So,
we're sort of
Do we try
stuck.
to get one or do we try to get two?
Yeah, was anybody running for the?
No,
Yeah, so, I mean,
I know, so it's like,
so you're behind.
tossing your hat in the door and see what happens.
We're gonna try it. Let's see what happens.
yeah, that's all we can do,
Yeah.
really,
Yeah,
And
and you probably can get somebody on a temporary basis. We have to.
And whenever there's jobs available, they do put it out on the Dutchess County Assessors, whatever, we'll get emails and say, oh, there's this position available in Dover or something like that. So I think that would be probably the first place to hit as far as getting somebody who would do 2 towns or something.
Right.
Just a thought.
And then you might want to reach out to the other towns to see what who's. So, you know, like what Mylan does in terms of an assessor, that might be an ability to share with Mylan.
I know they still have 3.
Oh, they have 3 in Mylan.
You're saying they were going to one elected?
No, they,
One of-
Northeast has,
Northeast has one.
that's Catherine.
Elected.
Yeah.
And there, I heard, I didn't hear from them, but I've heard through the assessor gossiping that they're
Thank you.
going to sole assessor too.
Sole appointed or sole elected?
Yes,
Sole
they're the
appointed.
only ones I know that are
Okay,
sole elected.
okay.
And Catherine's been there forever.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, yeah, I
Well,
know.
they had a disaster before Catherine came.
Yeah.
They had a nightmare of a revow.
Oh,
Everybody was very, very unhappy.
oh.
Yeah, and it's there are a lot of towns that have had bad experiences with assessors.
Yeah.
We had a bad experience in Hyde Park. When I came on there.
I would like to offer one thing, to the board, that I would be available to be a data collector. Because I know the area, and somebody that comes from out of the area is probably not gonna be that familiar with it. But, Linda asked me today, she said, how do you keep from getting shot when you go out there to get this information? I said, well, the first thing you do is approach people and tell you, from the assessor's office, and your taxes are not going up. And I know exactly, they stop and that they've changed, but I served on that board for a long time. And my experience with the assessor's office, as I was the liaison to the assessors, was zero. They never came and said, well, we need you to check on this or do that. It just moved along fine. But the public is not enlightened on how it works.
Uh-huh.
They are not enlightened that the town budget drives the assessments. They don't realize that until you explain it to them. Well, I didn't know that. I thought they just raised it to raise it. No, it doesn't work that way. But like I say, that's one thing that a lot of people are not aware of, is how the process works. And it's, I've been all over this town taking probably check set, and the office was behind, and it was no fault of their own. Pine Plains is one of the few towns, well, I won't say the few, but it's one of the towns that keeps a physical property record, a picture of the property. Some towns don't even do that, or maybe they can't, I don't know. But some of the places that I've seen where some of these houses are being built, it's just amazing. And trying to track them down when they have no addresses, it's what are you gonna do? But it's I just took this to fill in to the end of the year. But I would be available if you get to the point where you're looking for someone to assist the office with data collection or anything. I'm more than happy to do it.
Well, the continuity would be useful too.
I didn't think I'd learn as much as I did. Man, I'm telling you, it's an eye-opening experience. And it's like I say, but the average person in the town, they have a zero knowledge about how it works. They just think, well, let's face it, it's a cash register for the town. That's what it is. I mean, you put together a budget, they got to come up with the money to fund that budget. And this is, and people are just they're not paying attention. That's basically it.
So I sent you, I hope you have it, or if not, I'll resend it, a packet of information on explaining all you need to know, hopefully, about changing from a 3-member to an elected assessor. And one of the documents is the application for qualifications review that I sent to you. We have all this, so I'll have to coordinate with you on what needs to be done, so.
Is there any more public comment before we close the public hearing? Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thoughts, concerns, reactions?
I was just gonna ask if the people want another month to think about it. And to go through some of the information. Or do you
Well, I
think-
think we need to act because I think we need to get somebody in place as soon as possible. If we're gonna-
Feel the same way, Sarah.
if we're gonna go this way, I think it's a good idea to get going.
As was stated, George, and as the data collector, we still have local Linda.
All right, yeah.
She'll be able to stay on.
And it may only be a, per diem type thing.
Correct.
That would be wonderful,
I'm not worried about those positions at
Yeah,
all.
We can fill them very
that-
easily and
I-
they're filled now.
Plenty of,
Well, I did have a report of somebody in an all blue Mustang going up and down the street.
that's my car they were.
Oh, it was an old car, not an
It
old
was,
guy.
it was a
An old guy in
1966
an old car.
Mustang.
Hold on both ends, right.
Who said that? That cat with her glasses on that.
I think we should be moving, we should get moving
Yeah,
on
I
it
think you
sooner
have
than
to bite the
later.
bullet,
I do too.
okay.
Can I get a motion on the,
I will make that motion.
can I get a second?
Second,
All in favor?
I need a
Roll
roll.
call.
Supervisor Wall,
Aye.
Councilman Ambrose, Councilman Bartle,
Aye.
Councilwoman Jones.
aye,
Okay,
we're off and going.
We're off to the
we're
races.
not sure where it's going, but we are off.
Thank you for coming, Linda.
Thanks, Linda.
And Linda, we could post that job, right? We put it out there, get it out. Whoever.
I'll talk to her
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's- the quicker
We
the
can.
better, to see who shows up. We'll be fine,
All right, department reports, highway.
I'm happy to report that we have all the roads we wanted to oil and stone done, and I'm happy with the outcome. I haven't heard too much problems with them. The stones are all picked up as of today, the excess stone. The crew has worked on tree cleanups that have occurred in the last couple storms. We took time down at the public parking by the bank. There was some branches that had fallen, and with the fear of falling, we cleaned that up on that intersection. We've submitted the vendor bids and our recommendations to the town board for your approval. Let's see. We were wondering about the brush pile drum. The brush pile is getting pretty big. I was wondering about the tub grinder. If we thought about that lately, about getting that cleaned up. Getting that organized.
Don and I spoke about it. It's been a lot bigger in the past. I think that's the conclusion. We were gonna wait a little bit longer
Yeah, okay.
on it.
Just making sure that's in your purview.
Yep.
I had a conversation with Russell Beck from Valley Energy about the gas tank at the highway department. He seems to think we will be fine just taking the old gas out, cleaning up the tank, painting it, and we're good to go. So I just wanted to keep you guys abreast of that. The repairs for the garage down there, I wasn't sure what was going on with that. If,
Ray, can you set up a bid quote for those repairs? Or send out?
I'll get together with CPL.
Yep.
With George and have George go in.
Okay,
I can see what you do. You see what mistakes you. Oh, that's what they look like. Right?
That's much better. Okay, because I thought those bids had already been sent out for the garage repairs.
the bids has not, we requested quotes. We only got that one.
Okay. Gotcha. Has there been an acceptance bid for Woodward Hill? We've already discussed that earlier. That's a yes. We're preparing the highway department budget. We started doing that. And we haven't quite gotten it done, but we're in the process of that. I think that's all I got.
You're gonna hang around, correct, for executive session?
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
We'll discuss your bid recommendations in new business.
Excellent.
Everybody received the building inspector's report.
Yes. Busy year.
Yes. Extremely. Water engineer.
Monthly report was submitted to the health department. The average daily flow was up a little bit. We have been dealing with a few services. So if you remember my famous last words at the meeting. Budget wise, I think I was good unless I have a lot of leaks. Which I didn't anticipate I'd be able to move forward with that software upgrade. Well, we started getting leaks as soon as that meeting ended. There were 3 leaks within the system, all on service lines or associated with service lines. The first one was located at 25 Smith Street. It was located right at the curb shutoff. There was a fitting that had gone bad. So that was replaced and put back into the service, excuse me. Since it was at the curb shutoff, that is the responsibility of the water department. So again, there was a bill from Mike George on that, which the board approved. The second leak happened at North Main Street. That was the building that had been unoccupied for at least 10 to 15 years, right across from the cemetery entrance. And so the owner apparently wanted to move forward with renovations. We actually had to make a repair on the curb shutoff because it was bent over. I was not able to turn it on. After making that fix, after turning it on, the service line is actually leaking severely. It's an old galvanized line. Not surprising, the fact that it had been sitting for so long without any water in it, then once pressurizing it. So I indicated that they have to go actually and replace the entire service line itself. Since it's on their side of the curb shutoff, it would be their responsibility as far as the cost of that repair. But right now, the water remains off until that gets done. There was also a water surface leak discovered on 17 Smith Street. That was located right in the driveway, again, on the customer side of the curb shutoff. That was repaired within a day or two when it came to the surface. And again, that was repaired at the homeowner's cost. Okay, so other than that, move forward with the telemetry system calibration. So the telemetry system is the hardware and software that senses the water level within the tank, relays that information down to the pump house, which regulates when the pumps are turning on and off. That was calibrated and checked, and so that's operational. And we had to make a slight adjustment. It was off by 2 inches, so we just made a quick adjustment to that. Other than that, pretty quiet on the water department. For engineering, if you remember last month, we had received bids for the proposed dugout construction that were much higher than anticipated. I was approached by the supervisor and a contractor indicating that they would, the contractor would be willing to perform work with volunteers or volunteer his staff, volunteer equipment to get that dugout work constructed. I checked with the Department of Planning for Dutchess County to make sure that they would fund that type of an operation. And they indicated that the town can still utilize the funds, since it would be completely volunteer. They could utilize the funds, go out to bid for the building materials and for concrete, utilize the money for those building materials. And as long as it is completely volunteer, understanding that the contractor would still have to provide certificates of insurance and things of that nature. But they would allow that to take place and that would not be an issue. What they have requested is to get a determination from the board, if that's the way the board would like to proceed, and provide them with a letter of who those contractors would be. And also provide them proof of the procurement that's taking place as far as the bidding on the materials, the building materials. In order to get this moving, I actually sent the plans and specifications to Harrington's, to Williams, as well as Lowe's as another potential vendor for the building materials, and I'm waiting to get those costs back. I do anticipate that that'll be right around that dollar amount of $60,000 that was awarded to the town, so it'll be good use of those funds. Okay. So again, up to the board whether that's the way you would like to proceed. But I do think that that provides a good option for the county. And they are, again, the one contractor is local. There's another contractor out of Stanford, Bill, I believe.
All of them are basically local.
Oh, they are. Okay, it's my apologies.
Yep.
So. It's just the question of whether the town would like.
Any thoughts?
Well, volunteer is always a little sketchy, but
Yeah.
they'll approve it, they'll.
Yeah, Department of Planning, I ran it through them and they said not an issue, that they're okay with that. As long as, again, the contractor fully recognizes.
Yeah, they have to be
there's
fully
no-
insured and covered by
Yep.
workers' comp and.
Correct. And there's no compensation whatsoever.
Yeah.
As long as there's no compensation, then they're okay. with it.
Okay.
It's contractors we've had do work down there at the ball field before.
Yeah, okay.
So they are fully insured, they're full.
Yeah, the reputable contractor.
Yes.
Yeah, the contractors that are willing to do it the reputable.
I'm comfortable with that.
I'll make a motion, we move forward with the contractors.
What I may request in order to keep the process moving, I may request a special town board meeting just to maybe accept those bids, just so we don't have to wait till the end of September if I get those building materials in. That way we can get the contractors perhaps moving quicker.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anything else? Right?
Just the Woodward Hill project, which I believe CPL Virginia had sent you a copy of correspondence indicating that there was one bid that was received on that
Correct.
from Colarusso and Sons, a little over $700,000. So again, knowing that project, George described the project and it's actually a very good price, I believe, based on the work that's required and based on the design. So one point George just wanted me to mention to the board is that based on the time of year, based on the precaster schedule, that the precasting wouldn't take place until the end of late fall, early winter of this year, but it would be ready for the install of next spring. So realistically, work at the site would not happen until April. Once again, we're open to the spring construction, but then also within the window of the DEC permit. So again, it's up to the board to.
Did you have any questions for Ray in regards to that, Carl?
That was the questions I was asking, I was thinking about, was the window, what's the window of the DEC?
Yeah, so that's April, as far as April 15th, if I remember correctly, that you can start working within the stream. But again, if the board awards it, they can start working with the contractor, start working with the precast company. So that way, again, when
Get all
it
the
comes,
materials and
yeah, it
everything
can be
ready.
cast and it'll be ready so they can hit the ground running.
Yep.
Did a contract go out
Alright.
with the bid documents? I didn't see
Correct.
it. Oh. Can
Oh,
you can talk to George? Yeah, he sent me
Um,
the bid bond and.
Okay.
Notice, but I didn't get a copy of the contract.
okay, I'll have them send you a copy.
you want to discuss it right now? We're in that category.
What's that?
You want to discuss in regards to this bid right now? We're gonna accept it. We're gonna deny it, send it out for rebid. What's everybody's thought on this? man?
$700,000 bill.
Yes.
Yeah.
$707,000.
And Ray, you think it's pretty decent bid?
Yeah, based on other, again, George explained the project to me and I was familiar with it early on as well when I was with CPL. I believe that is a competitive price. Because again, keep in mind, it's a deep excavation. It's a good size culvert, but it's also a deep excavation.
And what's our financing plan for it?
We'll have to figure that out.
Okay.
How many bids did you get?
Just one.
One.
Single.
It was sent out to, I believe, 8. I think I had on this It was on the sheet,
Yeah, George
That sounds
indicated
about
that
right,
it
about
was,
6.
6, yeah,
it was public, yeah, but it was published, so again, it was
Correct.
published in the paper, and so it was a public bid, but in addition to that, my understanding is that George said that he reached out to 6 different contractors and provided them each with a copy of it.
Okay.
But again, based on the market, based on what's taking place with construction pricing, that's a pretty good number.
Send it to 6 of them.
and Calaruso also broke down their cost right on their bid contract. So,
And I can tell you, I don't know if, you know, the board's not familiar, but Color is a very reputable construction company. They're actually doing 2 culverts, not as deep as this, but generally the same size. They're doing a couple of those for me up in Columbia County. Under county work, and they've been fantastic to work with.
I would move that we accept the bid.
Second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
I'll relay that back to George and have him court to get the information to Warren as far as the contract, and then to coordinate with Warren as far as contract signing.
Ask him if that's what he's looking for.
The packet, I think,
I
right in front of you.
believe that's
That's the whole thing.
all I had for engineering. And no, that's just the notice of award.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
So Brian, if you would sign that and then just get that back to George, then that'll start the process of getting the bonds and insurances from the contractor. So that way they're ready for the contract.
You can send that copy to me, so I know that that's.
Who does this go to?
Warren,
Yeah, I have all that.
And that's the actual copy of the bid too, is in there.
Yeah, I have all this.
okay,
Including the bid?
Yeah. Oh,
anything else, Ray?
No, that's it for,
Okay, recreation. I received a letter from the rec director. He was looking to disband the recreation committee at the close of the year. Throughout the 5 years of being director, as well as serving for 2 years on the committee, I have found that it is not necessary for us to maintain committee in order to run programs, host activities, and manage facilities. We have a great community here in Pine Plains that helps us plan, recommend, and oversee the various aspects of the recreation department and facilities. Modern technology allows me to interact directly with community members and meet their recreation needs or requests as they arise. In the previous years, I have orchestrated the restructuring of the committee. And if we reach a point in the future where it appears necessary to have a committee once again, the structure and plan exists to restart it. Thank you for your time and consideration. Sincerely, Michael Cooper. Thoughts, comments from the board in regards to this?
I want to think about it. And I think I'd like more information about it.
Okay.
More of a discussion. I
Absolutely.
don't-
So we're gonna table that till next
Yes,
month.
please.
That's all from the rec committee. Animal control officer, everybody received that point? Report?
Okay. We got the letter from the vet also.
Yes, Rich and I had a conversation. He's in the process of talking to his state representative
Okay.
and finding alternate solutions, but we'll have something
Okay,
in place by the first of next year.
It's fine.
Police department,
That's 14 hours of work, 215.5 of patrol, 47 of admin, 9 of investigation. 12 of training, 11.5 details, 46 of vehicle other. 15 complaints, 4 fire and EMS, 1 domestic. 2 auto accidents, 33 traffic warnings, 32 tickets issued. 2 parking warnings, 1 parking ticket issued, 1 DWI arrest, 1 other arrest. 26 scheduled shifts. Completed 47.
Did he send it out with the bid?
Mike and I attended Stanford Town Board meeting for a question and answer. And their town board meeting room is probably this size and it was packed to capacity. And for 30 to 45 minutes, residents asked us questions. At the time we left, the room was 100% positive, along with the board and us coming down to Stanfordville. Their biggest question was, how soon could we start it?
Is that all you had? Any questions for John?
Where are we with the process
Um,
of starting in Stanford?
Stanfordville is requesting 2 more changes. They're gonna send them up. We're not acting upon anything until next month, so we're gonna table this until next month. I spoke to Wendy today in regards to it. Just a few language changes and specific amount of hours. And they want to do a 3-month trial period to start. So
Okay, makes sense.
they'll be sending that up and it'll be ready for our board meeting next month to discuss and go over it.
Yeah, just get a copy prior to the meeting.
I'll send it over to you as soon as I get it. Okay, new business. We need to approve Carl's standard workday reporting sheet for the New York State retirement. Just formality.
Make that a motion.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
We also have the bid recommendations sent over by the highway superintendent. I'm requesting a motion to accept these bid recommendations with the exception of the propane. If we could send the propane out for rebid.
I move that we accept those with the exception stated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Why are we rebidding the propane?
They got one bid from Valley and I think we need to open it up to a rebid because there were a couple individuals that
Okay,
either missed it or weren't aware of it because I received a couple of them that were late and they were obviously too late to accept as a bid. Approval to have our town cleanup day for October 14th from 8 to 12. There's a lot of stuff going on in September between our community day, Stanford's community day. And I figured October, around the 14th, it would be good weather still before winter cleanup. Is everybody in agreement with that?
Yes, fine.
All right.
Excuse me, may I make a suggestion? How about we have a way to get rid of electronic stuff?
that's just my question.
There's a tremendous, I've got 3 television sets. You can't just chuck them in the dumpster, because that doesn't work. And Dutchess County used to do that thing down there by the burn plant down there by IBM.
IBM, yes.
And they had containers that they brought electronics in. Now, what they did with them, I don't know, but at least it was separate and it looked like they were trying to dispose of them in a normal manner.
We did check on it, I believe, last year, but it was
Last
too
year.
close to the,
Ulster County will take what we have,
so.
or recycle at no charge, and that was last year's.
You mean as individuals?
No, we can collect.
We can collect,
We
okay.
can collect, it would probably be up to the highway department, to provide a vehicle or whatever, and we can just take until we can't carry anymore, and then make arrangements to take it over to the recycling.
If you want to check with them, Don, to
I'll-
make sure that's
I'll
still
recheck.
good.
Yeah.
I'll make sure we get the pallets
Right,
and the vehicle to take it over there.
right.
We can load up pallets, shrink wrap them
How
and
about
take them
small
over to
dumpster?
Hudson.
You're gonna have a lot of stuff, man.
The problem being is they won't take it off of the dumpster.
Let me find out how they'll accept it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, they were going to take a pickup load just out of the back of a pickup. But that was all last year, and I don't know if they've changed their policy or not, but I can check. It's probably too late to try to do a paper. You know, to.
paper shred, yeah.
Paper shredding is, we needed more advance notice. Okay, so I'll check.
Perfect. Also, we need approval for our bicentennial fireworks at dark on October 7th at the high school. We're gonna shoot them at the high school in the back, because then more people would be able to see them. Parking would be perfect. We're in the process of getting the
What's the date?
date at October 7th. It's Ag Day. at night.
Okay,
Mhm.
With all the cows there?
They're gonna be long gone.
Okay.
It's gonna be dark out. There, when Ag
They
Day,
go,
when
they
Ag
go.
Day ends. Ag Day ends and everything's out of there by like 4 o'clock. It's a ghost town again. They won't be shot until around 7, 8 o'clock at night. Yeah, no, no. Yeah, no,
Have a stampede.
no. You're not the only one that asked that question either, but no. That is not the case. Is everybody good with that?
Yes.
That's all I have under new business. Does anybody else have anything?
Motion.
I have Ambrose. I need just a second.
Can I get a second on that?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Anybody have anything else in new business? Anybody have anything in old business? We've already discussed the police resolution, so. Nothing. Okay, can I get a motion to move into executive session for attorney client and personnel?
So moved.
We're gonna make, there's gonna be decisions, yes. So we're
Sorry.
coming back. Yep.
Sorry.
It's okay. Yes.
You have a motion to open the meeting again.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion that we accept Randy Coons as a highway HMEO at the sum of $25 an hour?
So moved.
Yeah.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, yes.
All in favor? Aye.
Go on.
Thank you.
You know,